Welcome to this video on search strategies to help you find sources for your public speaking course. My name is Linda Nyer, and I'm one of the research and instruction librarians at Bloomsbury. My specialty is in the health sciences, but I work with all students. So during the summer, you can reach me or the other librarian on duty using the Ask Us or the Ask Now button shown here on our webpage. And you can talk to a live person. And on the library's main page, you'll note the Ask Us box, and you can submit a question through email, and somebody will respond to you shortly, within 24 hours. During the regular academic year, you can also drop in the library, assuming we're going to be open, and ask your questions. Now during the summer or during the regular year, you can also schedule an appointment in the fall, either face-to-face or online, and during the summer, online only. So I do want you to know about ways that you can get help. So the purpose of this video is to help you become more experienced searchers with the immediate goal of helping you select high quality information sources for your speeches for this class. I'll demonstrate and explain several strategies that you can practice on your own. For this class today, we'll be using a research course guide called Public Speaking, which is also available in your Bolt course. If you happen to wind up on the library's webpage, you can also access the guide for the course using the link for research guides, and then select course guides, and you'll see these are sorted alphabetically, and you can get to it that way too. So pretty much a lot of what you're going to need is located on this. So I'm going to take just a minute or so to go over the different pages. I want to point out some things that we'll be talking about today. First page is more or less dealing with researching online. You'll see a link here for a portal for the United States government for information, which is an excellent place to begin because the government collects information on virtually every topic imaginable. You can select all topics and services, consumer issues, education, housing, money and taxes, travel, health. That's a huge part of it as well. So you can go in there and try browsing, especially if you're still looking for a topic. If you do not have a topic yet, you might want to check out some of these other links on the side here, including Films on Demand, which has streaming video, and sometimes just watching a short video clip can help you sort of get your creative juices going. And there's a website called ProCon for your persuasive argument, and some other ones as well that you may want to check out. I'll leave those to you. This is a short video, which is very helpful if you kind of need a refresher on evaluating websites. Check that out. The second page of the guide deals with searching library databases. What is a library database? Well, if you need a refresher on that, I'm going to assume you know, check out that video. When you're searching within one of the library databases, and one of the advantages to searching library databases is the information has already been vetted in a sense, so you know it's at least credible. You're still going to need to evaluate it for your particular topic. So it kind of narrows down the amount of evaluating and filtering you need to do. Some general tips for searching effectively: keep your search simple. Avoid using long phrases, sentences, or sentence fragments when you're searching a library database. Use quotes around specific phrases that you want to search. So say you're looking for information on vitamin supplements. You might put quotation marks around that. Use the search operators that are built into the search form, the and, or, and not, and then look at an article that you find, really study it carefully, look at the subject headings that have been assigned to it, as well as if you find an article, look at their reference list too. So this library search is a place we're going to begin here in just a moment, and then some additional recommended library databases where you can go and identify other databases that the library has as well that might be good for your topic. The citing page, I think that will be helpful to you. I want to point out there's some general advice here about how to do citing in PowerPoint presentations. A good rule of thumb, and you want to check with your professor on this, is to mention the source during your speech and with the date so that the listener will be able to find that reference on your last reference list of your slides. So if I were talking, I'd say, as Smith and Jones noted in an article in 2015, blah, 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 then my listeners, my audience could go to my reference list and look up Smith-Jones article for 2015 and find it. Okay. The other thing I do want to prime you on is that the database citation tools often will get you started with citing. You do need to proofread them because they do have errors quite often. Within most of the EBSCO databases, when you click on an article, you'll notice off to the right, there will be some tools. Click on the one for cite with the yellow piece of paper, and then you can select what citation style you want. And here is the reference that you can then copy and paste. Additionally, over here off to the left are some APA citation guides. I'm just going to open that one for later to show you. And another thing that I do want to point out is that the library has LinkedIn Learning. And if you need to get up to speed with using PowerPoint, there are quite a few tutorials in here. So check those out. They're going to give you really targeted instruction on using PowerPoint if you need help with that. Okay, and finally, on the help page, I have listed a couple of image databases that you can use with your PowerPoint. I'm just going to take a brief moment to demonstrate the Creative Commons one. What's handy about this, let's say I'm doing a paper on nutritional supplements and immunity. That's going to be my topic for my speech, right? So if I just wanted to search for a picture that I might be able to use, right? Here's one that's kind of funky. Looks like it might be in another language. But over here off to the right, you'll note this little box here where you can credit the creator, and you can just copy the information and use that for citing. So that is Creative Commons, which is listed on the help page under image databases. Furthermore, there are some other tutorials in here too that you may want to check out if you feel you need a little bit of help with searching and so on. All right, so let's go back to the first page of the video, or of the guide rather. So I'm going to assume that most of you use Google or a website to begin your, or other web search engine to begin your research. And that's perfectly fine. And everyone does it to get started. But oftentimes students may lack experience selecting the best sources that they find. Okay, best sources being defined here as the most effective or compelling or credible sources. So one way to improve the quality of a search engine, or a web search rather, is to search within a specific domain. So let me go down here to the Google search box, and you see how I have some text here entered. So you can limit by these various domains one at a time. So again, let's say my search is on the use of vitamin supplements and immunity. I'm interested in the effect of them on immunity. Okay, so I get over 21 million, right? Well, notice what happens when I put in the limiter for cite.gov. So now I'm limiting my search results to government websites, and it narrows it quite a bit. It drops down to 89,000. So these are going to be sources that have been published on government websites. I can tell from the URL for the first 3 of them that these are going to be in a database that the government publishes that I'm familiar with, but called PubMed. So those are going to be probably research studies, right? And there's quite a bit, not surprising on that. Pay attention, you know, Google gets their ads in here. They're trying to sell stuff. So you might need to go a little bit deeper than just the top page right here. So here is a website I can tell from the US Department of Agriculture. Might want to take a look at that one. And blow that up a little bit. And you can download that as a PDF and so on. All right. So you'll notice here what we're not finding is information on how to cite this. So my advice at this point would be for you to work with a Word document, simply copy and paste the URL, put what you think is the title, what you think is the author. For this, I would say it's United States Department of Agriculture, and the name of the page is Boost Immunity with Food and Sun, July 2010, and put the URL, and then save that Word doc or Google Doc so that you'll be able to come back to that later when it comes time to format your citation in the APA style. Okay, so that is one strategy that you can use, is to search. Let me go back here, and to search and limit by domain. Okay. Another, you can repeat the same search more or less in a subset of Google called Google Scholar. Google doesn't make it easy for you within a regular Google search to navigate over to Google Scholar. So you can either use a search box here or just simply type in your web browser scholar.google.com. So let me try this, and this time I'm going to use more academic terms. So you want to kind of pay attention to the language that you use. So I'm going to call them nutritional supplements. Whoops. And Google's pretty good if you misspell. Immune system. Okay. And yeah, I made a typo. Okay, so not a lot of filters here in Google Scholar. If you have not used Google Scholar before, Google Scholar is a subset of Google that includes just scholarly research, essentially. And the way that it is sorted is items that have been more frequently cited by other people, indicated by the cited by. And by the way, these are clickable links, so you can see who cited them. So in other words, the most important material tends to rise to the top, things that have been cited more frequently. So you might want to consider date also when you're doing this type of search. I'm going to limit it since 2016. And so there might be some sources in here that I could use. Just a couple things I want to point out about Google Scholar if you haven't used it. You'll notice over here on the right that I have links for full text at BloomU. Quite handy. If you're not seeing those when you do a Google search, all you need to do is to enable library links. So go to the menu or the hamburger in the upper left corner, go down to settings, and click on library links. Search for Bloomsburg, and these should come up. Select them, save them, and they will appear then in your search results. Okay, so you can, normally I'll just pick the PDF to get to it, but occasionally there will only be the full text at BloomU link available, so you want to use that one. Sometimes you'll get no link whatsoever, and if that's the case, you can, let's say there's nothing, no PDF there, just click on the double arrow to get the full text at BloomU, and you should be able to request that article for free through interlibrary loan or document delivery. And you can ask me questions if you have any about that. So library links, you want to enable those in Google Scholar. This does not work in regular Google, only Google Scholar. The other thing in Google Scholar, quite handy, the double quotation marks is a cite feature. So it will show you what the APA citation looks like. So again, you probably want to paste that into a Word document. Let me close that out. Okay. So as we said, when you're using web sources, you do have to do more filtering to determine what it is. You can do that by limiting by domain. You can also search library databases where the information has been vetted to some extent already. So if I were to use our search everything at BU search box, this searches our catalog as well as most of our library databases, probably a good 90% of them. So I could just simply do my search similar to what I did before. Now this database is smart enough, I don't have to put the and in there. It's going to automatically assume and put an and between everything. So if I wanted the words immune system to appear right next to each other in the search, then I would have to put quotation marks around it. So let me do that. Okay, since I'm off campus, I will need to authenticate by clicking on Hello Guest, and I'll be prompted for my Husky login, which I've already entered, so it's just passing me right through. Okay, so that's quite a few results, right? 72,000. This is going to be a mix of books, articles. If you look under source types, you can see all of the different types of publications that are included here. Let's say I just wanted magazines because, you know, honestly, sometimes some of the scholarly journals can be a bit tough sledding. If you're just giving a brief 5-minute speech, you're not going to have time to go into it. So there's other limiters again that you can put on. Always pay attention to date. Since we have so many, I'm going to say let's only go back to 2015. And if your topic is date sensitive, for instance, you're doing something with medical information, obviously you're going to want to limit by date too. Okay, so here is an article that actually looks pretty pertinent to what we're interested in. If I mouse over that, I can get a little abstract, decide by reading the description in the abstract if this is an article I want to look at the full record for. I can also click on the title to view the full record of the article. The way that I would read the article, of course, is by clicking on the PDF and bringing that up. So you can see that this is a fairly short article. It's looks like about 2 pages. Yep. So there's my article. I could print that out. Over here off to the right, remember how I said that there is a citation tool in the EBSCOhost databases under tools. So here it is. Just click on that. And here is your citation in APA format. Okay. So it's as simple as that. Sometimes you do have to play around with your search terms. Sometimes less is more. Put limits on to refine your search if need be. Explore go back to the result list, and there's actually quite a few limiters that you can use. You can even limit by geography for the United States. You can also limit by specific databases, and this might suggest to you what other databases on our database A to Z list you might want to look in for additional sources. So let me back out of here and go back to the guide. So that's for search everything. Also listed on that page with the databases underneath some other recommended library databases. This first one right here, I do want to point out for your persuasive topic, you might want to check out some of this has sort of like pros and cons of various different topics. So in the news, these would be some hot topics right now. You could take a look at some of these. And then they also allow you to browse by category. So if you were to click on the plus sign, it's going to give you a complete list here. Most of the topics, let me see, try this one here, Vote America, election interference. these particular topic articles are going to have a pro and con article for them. So it gives you an overview of the article, and over here off to the right, you'll see a point and what they call counterpoint. So the point are taking the argument that the United States is already combating foreign interference in elections. The counterpoint is that the US government must do more to protect elections from foreign interference. And this can be helpful to look at these because you see what the main arguments are that you may need to consider when you're giving a persuasive speech. So I wanted to point that one out to you. Okay. I think we covered, yep, we covered getting the full text. So finally, let me go to the help page again. Well, actually, we did the images in Creative Commons. The other one I did want to point out was the Associated Press images, and you can sometimes get statistics and charts and graphs in here as well. So if you were to try to do, let's say, whoops, death panel having problems typing today, right? And I noticed that this also did auto suggest for capital punishment. Let me select that one. And then if I wanted to do statistics in there as well, this is a way sometimes of teasing that information out. You might be able to find a nice graphic for your paper that way, or your presentation rather. Over here off to the left, you can limit by source type. So here's one for images, and here are some various images, looks like primarily of people that have been sentenced. Some rather grisly images, ooh. So I have not pre-done this search, but you may want to browse through some of these. Not sure what that looks like. That actually has an image, so you do need to click on the title. And okay, it's only giving me a little snippet. So, okay, so that one was not the best example, but there may be other ones in there as well. I did want to point that out to you. These are images that have accompanied Associated Press articles also. So keep that in mind for your searching too. All right, so on the help page then, here is a link to LinkedIn Learning if you need help. I believe I mentioned before on getting up to speed on PowerPoint. You can check out the LinkedIn Learning for a tutorial to help you develop a little bit more skill. There are also on the help page some additional tutorials on how to find an article. This was specifically in Bloomsburg University's catalog or databases. How do I find a book in the Bloomsburg University catalog, and then what sources can I use, and so on, and how do I use the web. Maybe some helpful sources for you in here. So pretty much that's it. If you have any questions, use the Ask Us to ask a question. If no one is able to answer you right away, we will respond as soon as possible, no longer than 24 hours. Here's some information about available research assistance. And if you keep scrolling down, this is also where you can submit a question. Give as much detail as possible. Be sure to include your name and email address. And if you want, you can receive an email confirmation and then just submit your question. And we will respond to you within 24 hours. So that about covers it. If you have any questions, let me know through the Ask Us or the Ask Now. And good luck on your class during summer session.